Yeah, hi there. These comments are for RZ, and I am Michael Buckoff, the founder, owner, and the materials writer for the 7-step system to pass a TOEFL IBT. It's a TOEFL online course. I'm also a professor at California State University, San Bernardino. And you made a comment on one of my YouTube videos, and I'm going to give a little bit of a context for some of my YouTube subscribers here that might be watching this. So a lot of times I get comments from students and they ask me, how much time should I study? So a lot of students are in a hurry. They need to get a high TOEFL score very quickly, so they think they can study 10 or 12 or 13 hours a day and they can get good results from doing that. But these students can suffer from what's called psychological burnout. They can burn out from studying English too much. So that was partly what I was saying in the video. And now let's take a look at your comments. So you say, I appreciate your advice. I come to the United States on March 12, and this is my 5th semester at BRCC Virginia College, and congratulations on your academic studies. You say, I really spend too much time on studying, sometimes 10 to 12 hours or more, and sometimes I get so bored. Since I have fall break, I decided to study the ASVAB. It is about 1,000 items to memorize, and I would do my exam January 17, 2014. I was studying too much, and then I thought, let's make some research, and suddenly I found your video on YouTube. Now I'm so comfortable to take a break sometimes during studying. I again thank you for helping people for such great advice, and you're welcome. And it sounds like you're doing a great job there. I'll give you a piece of advice. You're probably already doing this. When you're memorizing items, there's a few things you want to think about, like concepts and vocabulary words and such. One of the best ways to learn information like that is to take each item and put it on a note card. Put the word on one side, then you can put the definition, the explanation of the concept on the other. And then, of course, try to use the word or try to somehow help you learn the concept. Many years ago, RZ, when I was studying at Brigham Young University, my major was Spanish, so I had to learn a lot of vocabulary in Spanish, as you can imagine, and sometimes I had essay exams and history and all that, and sometimes after I would put my items on note cards to memorize, I would then find a classroom and I would practice writing responses to all those items. And I found that writing things down, it worked for me. It doesn't work for everybody, but it was a great way for me to learn that information. Alright, so anyway, I'm glad that you liked the video, and I want to talk to my audience a little bit more here, and also for you. Think about this when you're learning a language like English, right? There's really 3 basic things that are very important to helping you learn that language. And let's talk about it for a minute. Number 1 is time. Obviously, you have to study a language over an extended period of time. So even if you wanted to study 20 hours a day for 4 days, and that's 80 hours, that's still only 4 days of study. Sometimes when we learn a language, we have to have time. Our brain has to see the grammar. Our brain has to get the input from the pronunciation and the speaking and the listening and all that. It takes time for these things to get in the brain and for your brain to understand it and to differentiate it from your original language. So it's not just studying, 3 or 4 days, but learning a language takes time, typically years. And even if you have good language or good English abilities, for example, if you want to get a high TOEFL score, it'll take you some time before you can reach that goal. It typically doesn't happen overnight. So keep in mind, time is important. Now also, a very important aspect of language learning is exactly what you're doing, according to your comments, is practice. You have to practice the content, the material, the vocabulary, the grammar, the pronunciation, the reading, the listening, writing and speaking, whatever. You have to practice these things regularly typically for an extended period of time. Now also, you need to have motivation. Now this is where I give you a warning. 10 or 12 hours of study a day is a lot of practice. You doing this over maybe a month or two. The problem is if you study 10 to 12 hours each day, you could become psychologically burned out. Now once you become burned out, you're no longer motivated to continue studying. And you could get sick. You might get a cold. Your immune system breaks down. So if you're smart with your study, like you're saying here, and you do take breaks, I think that's going to be much better than trying to study 8 hours in a row with no breaks at all. You might study like, I tell my students, if you want to study TOEFL, maybe 2 to 3 hours a day you're studying TOEFL, and then the rest of the day you're watching TV, you might be listening to music, you might be going out and talking with native speakers. You know, you're doing those kinds of things, and that's also good practice, but maybe not as mentally fatiguing as trying to learn adjective clauses from a grammar book or studying vocabulary from your GMAT book or something. So anyway, thank you for your comments, RZ, and good luck with your studies. And I think that a lot of my YouTube subscribers, when they see your comment, they'll probably like it. And if anybody else has any ideas on how you study and what you think works for you, you can make your comments directly in this discussion thread.